Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and some occasional odds and ends. Today we're going to talk about stalls and meat fatigue, saving money, and a few other little things I've got planned here. Let me start by welcoming you all to the channel. If this is your first time here, I appreciate you being here. Sorry, just getting my thoughts collected for the day. It is actually much later than I usually walk. It's coming up on 1:45 in the afternoon, but I don't know if it actually rained, but it was so foggy and damp out all morning that the ground got wet because the fog was so thick. So, sorry. Things are a little later than usual today, but this should still be out on time tomorrow. First thing I want to say is thank you, Paula, Corey, Carol. Thank you guys so much. It means an awful lot to me. But let's jump right in here. Oh, for those of you who don't know who I am, besides just my name, Semi-Retired Bob, I started the carnivore diet about 5.5 months ago, and I'm now down about 105 pounds. I say about because I don't know exactly. I was at 105 pounds when I did last week's weigh-in, and I don't know if I've lost anything this week or not. But I'm going to talk about that more later in the video, so stick around to the end. I suppose I should probably slow down just a little bit. Seemed like I was walking really fast. But let's jump right into this and talk about stalls first. There's a lot of reasons you might stall if you're only looking at weight loss. And of course, the first thing I always suggest to everybody is that if you're experiencing a stall, now a stall is multiple months without seeing any weight loss. If it's only been a few weeks, you're not in a stall, you're in a pause. Because when you're on a massive weight loss journey, your body has to pause occasionally and readjust itself. And there's a lot of sciencey stuff behind that, but I don't go into that because we all know how good I am at sciencey stuff. Yeah. But just be aware that pauses and dips, and you're even going to rise a little bit here and there. Weight loss is never a straight line curve. But, and if the only thing you're looking at is weight loss, what was I saying? Yeah, to start off, go watch Dr. Barry's video, 13 Reasons Your Weight Loss Might Stall, and investigate all of those thoroughly. What I like to talk about on this channel of how not to stall is that you're not just looking at weight loss. You're not just looking at one thing. You're not just looking at your body composition or how loose your pants are getting or how big your muscles are getting. It's a combination of everything. Even the big one that people always tend to overlook is, how do you feel? Do you feel better today than you did last week? Well, if you feel better today than you did last week, even though the scale hasn't moved, that's not really a stall, is it? But one surefire way to break an actual weight loss stall, for most people, this is not universal. That's one lap already. I tried to slow down, but I'm still walking kind of fast today, so we'll see. But just fast. Take a day or two off from eating. You know, I'm not a big fan of long-term fasting. I believe in intermittent fasting. But if you fast for 2 days, or 3 or 4, and you still haven't lost any weight, provided you're not doing tons and tons of exercise to build muscle. Because always remember, as we get healthier, our bone density increases and bone weighs more than fat. If we're doing exercises, like in my case I'm walking, I mean, I can feel my legs are definitely stronger, and my back and everything else. But that's putting on muscle, and muscle weighs more than fat. But if you've done all those things, you've investigated everything, it's probably time to go see your doctor to see what else is going on. And even though this is not medical advice, I'm not a doctor, one of the things I believe in is going to your doctor if you think something's wrong. Even if, like my primary, he's a complete and total idiot when it comes to the carnivore diet and does not believe in it at all, he can at least take a look at you, run some tests, see what's going on. So even if your doctor's an idiot, make sure you keep going to him, or find a new doctor to go to. Either one of those are acceptable, but I would not recommend going on any kind of a huge weight loss journey without your doctor in the loop, especially if you're losing the kind of weight I did. You need to know what to look for and when to cut out meds or not cut out meds. This is very important. Another thing fasting can be good for is our next topic, and that's meat fatigue. I understand there was and believe me, you're not the only one, but there was a person in my comments that said, please help, I'm just so tired of beef. And he didn't like chicken or pork. So I said, well, you can try eating seafood, try eating eggs, because there's a lot of different seafoods you can have on a carnivore diet. But my primary advice was, you may just not be hungry, which is why you're tired of eating beef. Because when I'm hungry, I'm never tired of eating beef. But I'm pretty sure it was Carnivore Quest. The guy on there, I can never remember his name when I want to. I'll feel bad about this later. But I know Cassie's her name, but I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But anyway, he used to eat a lot of eggs, and then over the course of time got sick of them and stopped eating eggs for a while, and then realized that he needed to be eating some eggs. So I think what he did is he basically put a bowl of eggs right in the front of the fridge, and he fasted until he finally got hungry enough to go, oh yeah, I'm going to tear those eggs up. And you can do that with beef too. You know, you may not, because you're eating to satiety every day, you may hit those days where you look at the beef and go, ugh, I just don't want that. Well, you're probably not really hungry. You're probably just back to eating out of habit. Because that's something we have to watch out for on the carnivore diet. You know, the basic tenet of eat when you're hungry, and if you're not hungry, don't eat. Sometimes that's hard to do because, you know, we get into the habit of well, it's 3 o'clock, time for my meal because I'm on one meal a day. Or it's noon, this is when I eat my first meal of my 2 meals. So I gotta eat. Well, only eat if you're hungry. And what I would suggest to you, if you're getting tired of beef, is just stop eating for a day or two. And it might even take 3. But every time you open up the fridge and look at beef, whether it be ground beef or ribs or whatever you've got in there, even a ribeye steak, if you're one of those rich people that can afford ribeyes. Sorry, bad joke. You don't have to be that rich to afford ribeyes. We're going to talk about that a little later in the video as well. But just leave it there until you look at it and go, oh yeah, I'm going to tear you up. You might even be to the point where I'm really hungry. I don't even know if I want to cook it. I just want to chew into that thing raw. Which is perfectly fine if you know where your beef's coming from. There are a few raw carnivores out there. I'm not one of them. I suppose if I got hungry enough, I could eat raw meat. If you get hungry enough, you eat just about anything. But the point of this is just leave it there and fast until your meat fatigue is gone. Because I know how hard it can be, especially if you're getting progress. You know, you're doing good. You're chugging along. You're down 20 or 30 pounds. You're starting to feel better. And then all of a sudden, you look at your stuff in the fridge and go, yuck. Well, just wait. You're not really hungry. But let's talk about how to save money on the carnivore diet. Because, I mean, let's face it, the very best carnivore diet is grass-fed, grass-finished, panda-massaged ribeye steaks every day. I don't know about you, but I can't afford that. I can afford to eat 2 or 3 times a month, and I had to fast the rest of the month. I am, once again here in front of you, living proof that you do not have to do that. I have lost all of my weight. The primary food that I eat is ground beef. I occasionally, so that I end up eating it once a week or so, that's what I mean by occasionally, we'll have some stew meat, which, if you simmer it in the slow cooker for 2 or 3 hours and then fry it up in the pan with some butter like you would sirloin tips, they come out tasting almost like sirloin tips. It's pretty good that way. As you've seen from the video where I showed you my trailer and my truck, I have 6, 7, 8 cases of Spam in the back of my truck. And while Spam has some carbs in it, it's still perfectly acceptable. Now, is eating a diet of Spam, hot dogs, bologna, and Vienna sausages ideal? No, it's not ideal. But it is still carnivore. You will still see progress. And it's certainly a lot better than eating a bag of Cheetos. You do not have to break your budget to stay on this diet. I have exclusively ground beef in my fridge and freezer right now because it costs a lot of money to drive my truck and pull the trailer down here from Nebraska. So we want to eat the best we can afford. But don't feel like you have to cut other things out of your life. And you will find that it's not super expensive on top of everything else. Got to shake my right hand out here a little bit. You will find that some of the things you cut out, like eating out. I've gone out to eat one time since I started this diet, and that was to see a friend. And you can go back and watch that video where I must have gotten dosed with some vegetable oil because I was not well for the next day and a half. I didn't feel good at all. Oh, by the way, I got my new watch. See if I can tip this up. It's, oh, come on, there we go. It's got a step counter on it. So I can sort of judge how far I've gone without having to shut you guys off and look. It's not that important. I mean, it takes my blood pressure and my pulse, and it's got a blood oxygen monitor in it. And it does a few other things, you know, it tracks your sleep and some other things. It can't track my sleep because I couldn't possibly fall asleep with a watch on my wrist. So I take it off at night. I just got it yesterday. We'll see how it works out. I did a little test walk last night, carrying both my phone and my watch. And they were within, the step count was a little off. There was about a 30 or 40 step count differential. But the distance traveled was very, very close. So the watch, I think, is counting just a little bit bigger distances a step than the phone is. And I could probably adjust them both so they match, but that's too technical for me. But yeah, you don't have to break the budget on this. Just eat what you can afford. Eat to satiety. But yeah, you're not going out to eat. You're not buying all those snacks. I mean, add up how much you used to spend on Cheetos, Doritos, or in my case, Papa John's and Domino's for pizza delivery. So you'll find that while beef is a little on the pricey side, after you factor in all those other things that you're not buying anymore, it'll still be about the same cost. Unless, of course, like I said, you're buying ribeyes every day. But I actually may stick to this ground beef only for a while, with a few other odds and ends thrown in just once a week or so. Because making my grocery list is ridiculously simple. I just click the button to add 2 10-pound logs of ground beef. Hit send. Day later, go pick it up. There's nothing to it, nothing to forget, because all I got was ground beef. That's 4 laps already. I've been moving right along here today. But I'm not ready to make... Oh, there's a jet flying overhead out of the air base down the road. I can't see it because it's still cloudy. Yeah, oh, and like I said, that's why I'm still in the parking lot today, not over at the state park, because it was so misty and wet. I did not want my first walk on a trail to be on a wet trail. I want to let it dry out. So, oh, here comes the sun through the clouds finally at 2 in the afternoon. But I did take a look, like I said I was going to. I took a look at yesterday's video, put it up on my computer side by side with the October 3rd video. And I can see the difference in my face. So even though I don't think the scales moved very much, my face looks much thinner now than it even did back at the start of October. So that's what I was talking about with non-scale victories and stalls. And of course, where my Be 1% Better comes from is if you're doing something other than concentrating on weight loss. You know, if you're walking or reading a book or whatever it is you're trying to do, you know, learn a new skill, watch YouTube videos to learn how to do something, whatever it is you're doing that you're trying to be 1% better at, then technically, if you've gotten 1% better at that thing that you were working on, you didn't stall today. Your weight might not have gone down. Your inches might not have gone down. Your belt might not have gotten looser. None of that stuff might have happened. But if you're walking and you went an extra 15 or 20 steps, you didn't stall today because you moved forward. It may not have been the movement forward that you were hoping for or wanting, but you did move forward. So don't let it get you down. Stay the course. Stick around to the end because I've got some final thoughts for you today. But as I come around the back corner of lap number 5, I'm going to say cue the music. Okay, cut the music. Thank you. Here I am coming around the back corner of lap number 10. I wanted to see if I could maintain that pace all the way through 3 miles. I think I have slowed down a little bit, but where I put the mileage up, I'll also put what I call my mileage time as well. But just remember, if you're only concentrating on weight loss, you're going to have long stalls or pauses. But if you're doing all the other things that make you fit, or that you're concentrating on to be 1% better today, whether it be walking or just getting up and down off the floor, or playing for an extra moment or two with your dog, whatever that 1% is, as long as you're making progress on those, you're never going to actually stall. So there should be a video over here to show you the entire October challenge. Another one over there you've never seen before. Get out there, be 1% better today. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you tomorrow.